down on their luck, sleeping in their car when they were apparently randomly targeted by a shooter who came through and unloaded his 9mm weapon, striking the mother who was sleeping in the car in the head. Fortunately, the mother is recovering from her injuries. The kids were not struck. And our detectives and our police officers here at Tampa PD worked tirelessly for the past several days and were able to make an arrest. 21-year-old Christopher Stamat is currently in the Hillsborough County Jail with no bond. So just to give you a little rundown of how it went, just to recap what happened, as you know, the family was sleeping in the car down on their luck. They were from another state. They were just recently brought to the Tampa area. A witness saw a two-door sedan that he described as either a 2006 to 2012, possibly a BMW coupe. Our detectives, again, worked tirelessly scanning the area for video. We were able to find video from some residences and from businesses, and we identified a 2012 two-door BMW 300 series, registered to Christopher Stamat. Detectives found his car located in a garage down on Marcellus Circle, which is his girlfriend's residence. Detectives came in contact with him at that home. We did a search warrant for his vehicle, found an unrelated firearm. We also did a search warrant on his residence. He was arrested yesterday for a felony amount of marijuana, bonded out, when in fact we were able to make the case on the shooting charge yesterday afternoon, and we arrested him again. The way the case was made basically is shell casings. So when we were doing the search warrant in his home, we found shell casings that in fact matched the shell casings from the scene of the shooting. He is the only resident of his home. The shell casings were located in an internal bedroom in his home that has very high technology way for him to get into that bedroom. He actually has like a fingerprint ID to get into that bedroom. So there's no doubt that these shell casings belong to him. Again, when we tried to speak to him yesterday, he did ask for an attorney. We do have him currently, again, in the Hillsborough County Jail on 6 felony counts, 1 count of second-degree attempted murder, shooting into an occupied vehicle, 4 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Our pregnant victim is doing fine. She's still in the hospital recovering from her injuries. The children are, in fact, in Florida with family, but not in Tampa anymore. We are very, very fortunate that this could have been a much more serious situation, and we're just very glad that this very dangerous individual is off the street. The shell casings? So the shell casings have almost like a fingerprint on them that we can tell that the shell casings match from the same weapon. It is high tech. It's called NIBIN, N-I-B-I-N, and we are able to make cases that identify similar guns used in similar pattern crimes around the city, including this case. So it's almost like you left a fingerprint behind at the scene. Yes, sir.
You said that the weapon in the vehicle was unrelated?
Yes.
The shell casings not from the weapon that you recovered?
The shell casings were not from the weapon that we recovered. Correct. Correct. There was shell casings in his apartment that were from the scene of the crime. We have not recovered that weapon yet. Say that again? No, he hasn't provided a motive. We're not really sure what the motive is at this point. You guys may remember that the victims had clothing covering their windows, and they had a visor in the front windshield of the vehicle, so we're not sure that he even knew who was in the car. We do know from his girlfriend that apparently he's been displaying paranoia over the last couple weeks and thinks people are stalking him. So we're not sure if that's the motive here or not. We're still working through those details. Again, we made this arrest in basically 72 hours of the crime being committed. We took this random, senseless act of violence very, very seriously, and we were able to get this very dangerous criminal off the street. So that's what I'm most proud of this morning, is the speed, the sense of urgency that our detectives and our officers, put obviously this senseless violence #1 priority, and we were able to bring it to a successful conclusion. Say that again? We had a tow truck driver that was actually towing a vehicle down around Spruce in Oregon, and saw a vehicle flee at a high rate of speed, and him saying that he picks up vehicles for a living, he knew that this was a BMW. And then we were able to confirm that by other surveillance video in the area.
How were you able to track down that specific vehicle? Did you get a tag or something like that?
Yeah, we got some unique identifiers on the vehicle, and we were able to do some research in our records management system and also through video to identify the unique identifiers on the car. It had some stickers, it had black rims, it had some unique identifiers and then we were able to get a tag as well. So we knew that was the car.
How far was he staying from where this homeless man was?
His apartment is in the same complex that the tow truck driver was in. It's at Spruce in Oregon. I believe it's called West River Flats, and he lives in that complex. And the victims were 3 blocks north of that in the parking lot on Oregon. So very close.
Do we know much about the suspect? 21-year-old, is he a student? Do we know much about him?
He has some history, not a whole lot. I believe in 2021, he was arrested by Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office, battery, possession of cocaine, possession of cannabis with intent to sell. We arrested him, TPD did in 2020, possession of cannabis with intent to sell. So it appears he's got a fairly significant narcotics history. But again, he just turned 21. He's a young man. He was just born, I believe, in September of 2001. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Like he was trying to hide his vehicle. It was at his girlfriend's house.
Yeah.
But did she say why he left it there?
She's being very cooperative. She didn't have any knowledge of the shooting itself, but we did find the vehicle in her garage. That's how we found it. So, I think logic would tell you that he was trying to hide the vehicle. You guys may remember we did put out video of the vehicle like very quickly after the shooting happened. So it's likely that he saw that video and he knew we were coming for him. It didn't matter though. We were able to, work again tirelessly. These detectives have done so well. I'm just so proud of the sense of urgency in getting this very dangerous, random act of violence brought to a successful conclusion. I can't hear you for some. Yeah, she said that he's been paranoid the last couple weeks. They haven't been dating very long. Apparently there's some ex-girlfriend and he thinks people are stalking him. I don't really have a lot of detail on that, but I do know that there was some, she did tell us that he's been acting a little funny lately. I'm not sure what exactly that is. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, you take a gun and you unload it on a family. I mean, it's just, we can't really sit back and try to figure out the why behind that. There's really, zero tolerance for that kind of behavior.
Now, Chief, for other homeless families that are sleeping in their cars across Tampa, just what message do you give to them to be any offer for people like this?
Yeah, I mean, I really, once we reported that this happened, we were talking about how random it was, and we were talking about, homeless families being alert and aware of their surroundings. But now that I see it's a little bit less random, and he probably thought that there was someone in that car that was watching him, that makes me feel a little bit better, that there isn't just this random gun violence going on around the city. This seems to be pretty specific that he was going to shoot that car. What I would tell anyone in the city of Tampa is to always be aware of their surroundings, always be aware of what, what's going on. And specifically for homeless, we do have a lot of resources in the city. We have Tampa Hope, we have Metropolitan Ministries, we have the Salvation Army. I would hate to see homeless families living in their vehicle, and would encourage anyone that's currently homeless to reach out and try to help, try to get some resources. We have a homeless liaison program here at the Tampa Police Department. We have homeless liaison resources with the city of Tampa. So there's a lot of resources that they can have to avoid living in your car, to avoid sleeping in your car. But I think just for general awareness, people need to always be on, high alert that there is a mental health crisis in this country, and to just kind of be aware of your surroundings. Anyone else?
We're gonna switch gears. I'm sorry, last question.
So you said that the room that the casings were in was like a biometric lock?
Yes, inside his apartment. The only way we could get into that room was for him to use his fingerprint to get into the room. I mean, it was really great work by the detectives. I mean, just getting the warrants for the car, it was just a very methodical process. This was not a simple case. This was a complicated case, and that's equally important to showcase that not only was it a horrific act of violence, we had a very complicated set of situations. I mean, just because we have a car doesn't mean we have a suspect. You know what I mean? So the detectives did a great job being, huh? He had multiple guns, yes. Okay, let's switch gears if we can. We had a shooting last night at 908 North Franklin, right up the road here at the Lit Martini Lounge. Lit Cigar and Martini Lounge, 908 North Franklin. According to witnesses out here at the scene, about 3 o'clock in the morning, right as the bar was closing, a large fight broke out inside the bar. Suspect left the bar, apparently armed himself, came back. The fight ended up spilling out into the streets, and we have 7 people shot outside last night, one of them fatally. The deceased victim is a resident of California who was here visiting the area for a wedding. The other 6 people are in stable condition at multiple Tampa Bay area hospitals. We're currently working with witnesses to develop leads. We have not made any arrests as of yet, but again, we are working with an extreme sense of urgency on this, and we're not going to sleep until we have something concrete to put these violent criminals where they belong. The suspects clearly have a disregard for human life. They opened fire into a crowd of people that weren't doing anything more than just celebrating right out here on Franklin Street. So it's a disturbing set of circumstances. I don't have a lot of details, unfortunately, but I felt it was important for the people in the downtown area to know that there is no imminent threat of danger right now. This was an isolated fight that happened in the bar. There are people at local area hospitals. There was 1 deceased, 1 fatality, and again, we're working on leads as quickly as we can to identify who was responsible for this. Right now, we have 1 that we know of, but there may be 2. I don't have those exact details. I wish I had more for you, but I don't.
You don't know if it was like 1 or multiple shooters?
I don't.
And you said the people visiting were in town for a wedding?
Yes.
Got shot?
Yes, the deceased is from California, who was in town with several friends for a wedding.
Were they involved in the bar?
In the altercation, we're still working through that. But we believe it was 2 groups of people that got involved in some kind of an altercation. 3 o'clock in the morning, alcohol and guns are not a good combination whatsoever. But again, we're working as quickly as we can to identify leads. I just want the public to know that there's no imminent threat. The scene is secure. We are working through leads tirelessly. So if we see a lot of police activity downtown, it is related to that. But there's, we're gonna get that under control.
You know how many shots were fired in total?
I don't.
Last question? Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.